Hello, everyone. Welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry. I'm a blue dot in a red state utilizing Tarot to help us navigate these very interesting times we have going on here in the United States. So I'm really glad that you're here and welcome. The focus of today's reading is going to be the health of our economy. And I'm going to divide this reading into two different readings. First, I'm going to look at the tariffs. Trump said he's making deals. Well, and if this happened in, I believe it was the Oval Office. He was answering a question from a reporter, and he said, "I'm doing 200 deals with companies," and then he quickly switched and said, "No, I mean countries." And it was like, is that like a little slip into some truth there, that he's actually not negotiating with countries, but rather companies? Because that would make sense. Whenever you start seeing, there's exemptions on this and that, whatever. And so he's also saying that, oh, yeah, China's calling. And China's like, yeah, no, we're not. And you look at this and go, okay, who do I believe? Do I believe the Chinese government over Trump? Oh, absolutely. It's like, yes. So China is saying, yeah, we're not calling. And they know that they have time on their side. They know they have, corporate greed and this capitalistic, dystopian nightmare that we've got ourselves into on their side. They know how Americans are going to react when the shelves are empty. Okay, and they're saying that we're going to start seeing empty shelves here by mid-May, and that you can't just restart the supply chain. Like we've seen how that works, during COVID, and that these worst case scenario is that these shelves are still empty, around Christmas time. So what I want to look at today is just, what's going on with that. I know there's a lawsuit with 12 states that are suing, the tariffs. I did a reading saying that, Congress could put a stop to this with just a simple resolution. I got that they would. I think things are going to have to be a little bit more painful before we get there, but I am going to look at that. I've got my questions up here. So the lawsuits. And on the lawsuits, this is interesting because is a judge going to put in a nationwide injunction? Because if you remember from my birthright citizenship reading, those nationwide injunctions is what is kind of saving us from some of that bigger stuff. Is judges saying no and putting that nationwide injunction on it. And that's what the Supreme Court is going to be hearing. Can a judge put a nationwide injunction in to stop some of this bigger stuff? But I am going to look at, is a judge going to do that, with these 12 states bringing lawsuits against, because I don't know quite how that would work if, like some states would have to pay tariffs and others wouldn't. And then I want to know, is Peter Navarro going to be fired? Is he going to go to jail? Is he going to be held accountable for this absolute just insanity that he is pushing? So, with that, let's just go ahead and get started with, what's this looking like? Let's just do a base reading. Okay. I always like to start with a base reading and then we'll kind of go from there. So looking specifically at base reading with these tariffs and specifically with China. Okay. We got a little bit of a reprieve from those other tariffs with a 90-day pause, but then he put like a 10% tariff on that anyway. So, we still had the tariffs. So China, looking at the tariffs with China, just a base reading. And as always, this is for entertainment purposes only. Okay. So base reading on tariffs with China. What's that looking like? Okay, and with that, things are really up in the air. And this card, we do tarot readings so that we can get more in-depth information, pull the curtain back a little bit. And yes, in tarot, there is a card that means, things are like up in the air. We're not really sure. It's kind of vague. That's what this card is. It's like full of surprises. But wait, there's more. Okay, so readers will get a lot of context clues about, certain cards from other cards in the deck that come up. So I'm going to see what else comes up here. Because this could be like, what fresh hell have we woken up today to today? Or it could be like, it just could be several different things. So with that, things up in the air. financial security. However, I get the feeling like this is not for our country. There's nothing being reported that I mean, these tariffs are just, as you can tell, this is a liberal tarot reading, and there's no economic basis for this. Okay. And so you get, I don't know, like they think this is going to bring financial security and stability, but you get up in the air working on things, working on deals, it's like you get a lot. I mean, I'm getting like this financial stuff, the financials, the money, but making deals. I mean, this is all the stuff that he's saying, but with this card here in the center, it's like it's all lies. It's all smoke and mirrors. That's what I'm going to take from this. I said, let me put out a few more cards. And if this is the Trump administration, it's smoke and mirrors talking about, oh, this is going to make us so prosperous. This is going to, I'm making all these deals, and this, the deals coming together, these new treaties, these new agreements, not treaties, but these new trading agreements that we're making deals. The World card, and this is like this is the last card in the deck, or not, in the major arcana, and this is a card of like you've arrived, you've achieved what it is that you've wanted to achieve, and so from the Trump administration, they're seeing this as we've achieved what we wanted, which I don't know, is that, like he's saying it's all this other stuff, but it isn't. It's clearly not. Empty shelves is not exactly a sign of prosperity for your country. And so I wonder if this is not like ulterior motives. And I've been kind of wondering that, like, okay, we're making America great again, but for who? Because right now it's looking like, we've got, it's looking like all of this is for Russia. Like if you were wanting to turn our country over to Russia and made a list, everything that is going on is exactly what that is. Okay. And I'm talking a lot about the stuff with Doge, which I've done in other readings. I'm not going to rehash that here. But this is like, he's accomplishing what he wanted to accomplish. He's saying it's for, prosperity for our country, but I don't, based on other readings, and then we're at the whims of Mad King Don. We're here. This is the, I always, in previous readings, I get him as the King of Cups. This is the irrational male that, everything is, everything is an emotional decision. We're at the whim of, what the fund manager said, insanity. Okay. So, and I kind of wonder if this is also completing a journey. So I'm wondering if like these tariffs are not working. They're not doing what they say they're doing. And he's come to the end of his road. Like he's fulfilled his destiny. He's done. So I'm curious about this World card. Like what exactly do we mean by the World card? What exactly? Because, end of the road is a lot different meaning than... so the World card, what is it exactly that he is coming out of this? Okay. Winning at all costs, not, this is, like should be taking care of our country, but really not. It's like taking care of his business friends. And even they are losing, if you saw Tesla is down like what, 71%. I mean, it's a start. We can do better. Okay. So it's like, he's saying he's taking care of, his oligarchs, but yet they're all facing the same financial, downfall as well. Where do you think Amazon gets all that, stuff to sell? Gonna come from China, a lot of it. So yeah, he's not taking care of our country, burn it all down at all costs. And the emperor, he thinks both of these coming up here. He thinks that he is going to be emperor and king, and he has arrived and he can do literally whatever he wants. Okay. So China, let's look at what China's going to do. China got any? Okay. I'll do this in just a second. So just to recap right here. I mean, like he's saying all this stuff. This is great for our country. I'm making all these deals. At the very heart of this, just remember, we got this, illusions card. Okay, it's all fake. It's not. It's illusions. It's okay. It's nothing what he says, and we see it. We see this. Okay, he's not taking care of the country. He's not making deals, and he thinks that he is just going to be. He can do whatever he wants. Burn it all down, take whatever he wants, win at all costs, and it's all about him. I mean, like the emperor and the king, both of these. All about him. So China. China is somewhat willing to talk. I don't think that, I believe them whenever they say they have not called to make deals. They're waiting, on, Trump there and people rising up. They know all they have to do is wait and people will have enough of, we have had enough. Okay. Anyone, in the upper, government there in China seeing this video, we've had enough. We have had enough of Trump, okay? And so, yeah, and they're seeing this. They see what's going on here. Yeah, they're not calling. This is like twos. They're willing to talk, but I think they want the American people to be a little bit more vocal because they know that they'll get a better deal. Okay? You get this, yeah, all we have to do is wait it out and then we'll get what we want. We don't have to call. We don't have to do that. And and you've been hearing me, all they have to do is wait it out. The Hanged Man, this is a wait card. So waiting and blocked. They'll call, that Two of Wands, they'll call when the American people, when they see the American people have had enough, when those shelves are empty. But until then, it's like, nope, we don't have to do anything. Queen of Wands. This should be our country. Queens are going to be the nurturers. This is also shedding a light into a situation. So that, once again, all they have to do, they don't have to take the lead. It's the American people that are going to be taking the lead. And when they see the uprising that's getting ready to happen, that's when they know that they can, yeah. And then the phone call. Pages, from past readings that the Page of Wands is going to be my message card. So they do not have to take the lead in this. All they have to do is sit back and wait. I mean, both of these cards is like, it's blocked, we're waiting, we're not doing anything. And then when the American people are fed up and have had enough, that's when they're going to call and start negotiating. Okay, so when can we expect this? When can we expect these negotiations? Okay, and on when 6, this is victory. I'm trying to get my questions to come up here. There we go. Okay, 6, this is victory for the people. I was asking when. 6, return to happier times. And 7. Boy, I hope it's not like 6 to 7. I'd love to say 6 to 7 days, but I'd be a little surprised with that. How long is China going to make us, kind of learn from our lessons, learn from our mistakes? I know someone who, the saying is, those who do not listen must feel. Well, we're getting ready to feel a whole lot. And so, they told us, everyone was warned, and yet some people, this is what they chose. And you get, so that 6 to 7, 6 to 7 weeks. I hope it's not 6 to 7 months. So just what is this going to look like for us? I just want to do 3 cards. Just the average American. Average America. What is this going to look like for us? Going back and forth, I think MAGA is just like, going, this is not what we voted for. And I can say, I'm blue dot, red state. MAGA actually believes that this is what has to happen in order to make our country great. Had that conversation with someone just yesterday. Not me, my husband. I don't speak to them. So here we go. We've got, they really think that we have to weather the storm in order to make America great again. Okay, so how long are we having to do this for? Oh, yeah, yes. Oh, the American. I was like, what did I ask again? An average American person. And the big message here, the message is, yes, the leopards are going to eat your face too. Um, you saw me shuffle. You saw me shuffle whatever he said. Yes, the leopards are going to eat your face too. That's what that is. Toxicity, drunk on power. This should be the happiness card. And typically, I mean, it is a happiness card, not when it's paired with the devil. I'm sorry, it's not. So, yeah, you get MAGA's in for a big old lesson. And they're getting ready to realize, oh, this is not all that we thought this was going to be. A lot of big feels. There are going to be a lot of emotions coming out of this. A lot of big thoughts and big feels, with those aces here. It's like they're realizing that they've been lied to. Okay. And I've seen it say, MAGA, if MAGA has happened across this video in this exact spot, you don't have to admit that you don't have to admit that you were wrong. All you have to do is say you were lied to. Okay. And move on. Okay. You were lied to, join the resistance. And this comes to an end. Okay. I'm curious about this card of it comes to an end. What exactly is this? What exactly is coming to an end? Our country, Trump, So what is coming to an end? This could be the court cases. I was looking here at my questions, and it's like this stuff comes to an end. His hands are tied, like he's told no. And I'm wondering if this isn't the courts. This is offering something of Knights are changes. Cups is like that emotion. So changes in emotions, changes like this would be a relief is kind of what I'm feeling. Like if these are stopped, it'd be a huge relief for everyone. And it comes to an end. Okay, I'm just looking here what I got. And the fighting and bickering that goes on here. So I just want to know, is this the courts? I need to pick up some cards here. I wonder if this Eight of Swords is going to be the courts. I'm just kind of looking here, taking a step back here. Yeah, it's like, I think that MAGA is getting the biggest surprise with what's going on here. And it's, as I said, it's a relief when this comes to an end. So, it's all picked up. I am curious, it coming to an end, is that the courts? Okay, is it the courts that are bringing this to a screeching halt? Okay, and with the courts, because we've got those 12 states, blue states, I'm definitely going to see the Queen of Cups more as blue states, because queens, somebody who's not in a position of power, that should be nurturing and taking care of, the people in our country. And the Democrats, I say blue because the Democrats are not in, like, they would be a king. They would be in a position of power. They have power, but they're not in the highest position of power. So that's why I usually see the blue states, Democrats, queens. And yeah, they're taking this to court because they are not happy with what they're seeing. They don't see any, no one is seeing any end of this because we're at the whim of, crazy here. How can we go forward in a more practical approach? And they're making their case based on the finances, our financial security. I'm not seeing anything here with the courts. I mean, yet. There's that devil card again, big wands, messages of how we can go through in a practical sense. And there we go, Queen of Swords. The queen of, a court decides, this is going to go to the court. I don't know that they're going to do the nationwide injunction. I don't even know what that would look like. Because how could some states, how do you get around federal tariffs? So let's see here. What is it that this judge is going to rule? Because these aren't real, yes, I get, these aren't real strong. This is not real strong. It's almost like, yeah, they file the case. They take their time. This is not someone that you're wanting to go into battle with. So this is telling me, like, it's not, I don't know that it's going to be the courts that save us, okay? It's almost like this gets started, but Yeah, so much disappointment. I wonder if something's like they're going to file that. Well, they've already filed it. If something's going to happen to like stop this before it actually needs to go into the courts. Huh. I What is this justice? I don't know that this is, unless this is the Supreme Court, I'm just not seeing. I mean, like, you get the courts here. This is absolutely the courts, but these aren't real strong cards. These are like, yeah, we'll hear the case and we put the date out, like 3 months down the road. And so much disappointment. There's still hope. I'm kind of wondering, like, the courts really aren't going to stop it, but yet we've got other ways to stop this. And the justice, like other legal means, is kind of what I'm feeling. It's Congress. I did that reading and it's like they haven't done it yet. But all we have to have is, that one, the way Elizabeth Warren stated it, it was just like a one sentence resolution of, only Congress gets to do tariffs, which would be legal. Okay, so is it Congress that's going to, put a stop to this? You got MAGA there again. Illusions, they're still going to be towing the line. And a more practical approach is needed. These cards are almost saying to me nope, we're going to stay the course. MAGA is going to stay the course. We know it's difficult, but this is what we need to do. I mean, it's just that feeling. So, if you saw my other reading, All Roads Lead to the Tower card, I kind of wonder if there's not going to be like something else that happens that takes like front and center stage as far as it goes, with this administration. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting here, is that I'm getting like, yes, it goes to the courts, but if you notice, these courts were the end cards, and when I ask for more, there's not a whole lot that's more in this. So, yeah, that's real interesting. And let's see, Congress, it doesn't look like, as I said, I'm getting this feeling like there's something else that's even bigger. What is the something? Let me just ask, what's the something else that's even bigger? That's going to, kind of put a stop to all this. What's the something else that's bigger? And the something else, people rise up, the Judgment card. A more practical approach going forward. We're done with crazy. We want calm. New ideas, big message, new begin, like this is new. Direction. At the base of this is the Devil card. All this toxicity, like how are we moving past this? MAGA. And if you notice the polling numbers, he's losing, he's underwater in all the polls. And I mean, there's some of that stuff like he's losing MAGA on. Okay, if you get down into like the nitty gritty details there, like we don't trust Russia. We should, we're on the side of Ukraine. Some of these things is like, he's down to like 10% support, and it's like 80, some 70, some, oppose him in some of the, as I said, those more detail-y things. So he's losing MAGA support. And it's going to come to an end. This is a card of laying in rest, okay? And it's a state of, it should be like, it's almost like a timeout. Like, go to your room and think about what you've done, okay? It's that type of feeling. But this is, I mean, it's the laying in state card. So, I will, is it literal? Is that what finally gets us out of this? I don't know. I'm not going to read on, that. I will ask this, though. I will ask more information. Just 3 cards on this Four of Swords. What finally stops this? And I was asking, like, is there something other than, like, what happens that takes this off, front and center here as far as the tariffs? And with that Four of Swords, just more clarity on that as the cards go everywhere. Let's do one more shuffle. Okay. This is something that happens quickly. I mean, it's just like that Knight of Swords. This is my card of just racing forward, like something surprising, something not, I would say not rational. This is just like racing ahead, not thinking about what you're doing. It's just like grab your stuff and go. that's the feeling I'm getting with this. I mean, no, that is my card. This is just racing off and not, like, hot-headed, just not thinking things through. Okay. So, and I was asking about more on this. So something very quickly, very suddenly happens, that, puts us in a position to overcome. This is just, put yourself in a position to where you can overcome, or very quickly you've got so much coming at you that you can't overcome. Either one of those. And the legal stuff that's bringing a stop to this. So, a few things here with this. Yeah, let me pull this back up here. What's interesting is that I do these readings, and I start seeing the patterns that in the readings, and I don't want to say, well, I know what's happening, down the road, but if you watch that, and in fact, I'm going to link that up here, is all roads lead to the Tower card. I think, honestly, with what I'm seeing here with the tariffs, is Trump's not making those deals. I mean, he may be making deals with companies, but he's not making deals with countries. China's not calling. We are going to start seeing empty shelves. I mean, that all came up very clear here. As far as it stopping, I'm not seeing that. It's like Congress talks about it. The filings have been made in courts, but I'm not seeing that that's what's going to end this. What I'm seeing is like there's something suddenly. This card, the King of Night, or the Knight, let me rephrase that. The Knight of Swords is just that very quickly crazy card. I mean, it's just like, literally like run out of the house because it's on fire card. That is this card. And then the Justice card comes up with it. So what I'm thinking, and as I said, I'm consistently getting this, that I think that he is going to do something so absolutely horrendous that even Congress steps in and says enough. And I don't even know what that is, because we're to the arresting judges stage of this, which is another reading I'm getting ready to do. So I will have that posted this week. So, if they're not doing anything over arresting judges, a month ago, Maggot Mike wanted to, get rid of the courts. So I don't think it's that. And you think, like, what could be so bad? Like, I can't even go there in my mind. So I don't know. So what I'm going to say is that these tariffs are going to end. Now, is that because the courts have stopped them, or Congress, or is something else happening? Based on previous readings and what I'm getting here today, I'm going to say that there is a good chance that there is something else happening that we don't know of, that is just going to be so horrendous that even, those moderate Republicans, remember I got, MAGA, he's losing support in MAGA, but it's going to be so horrendous that even Congress acts, or at least those moderate Republicans in the swing, districts, that if you don't have a 30-point lead, you are not in a safe seat. So I will keep watching this. We'll keep watching the tariffs. Yeah. I know I was going to ask, I'm going to ask real quick, is Peter Navarro going to jail for this? He's already been to jail once for Trump, so, is he going to jail for this? That was the last question I had. So, is he going to jail? He may be working on a deal to keep himself out of jail, but I don't know if it'll be enough. I don't know that the plea deal is going to keep him out of jail. Because this would be like, not that, I got to glare on that, sorry. This would be the, if he was going to go to jail, this would be that card. But I think he's making some kind of plea deal. I just want to finish that off. So, thank you for joining me. Kind of a weird reading, but yeah, I will keep doing these, and we will, keep watching what's happening. I don't think there's going to be any shortage of news. So as long as there's news, and as long as we have, the First Amendment, I will keep doing these readings. So thank you for joining me, and I will catch you on the next reading. Have a good day.